All right, let's talk about something we've probably all wondered about at some point. You're in a new relationship, things are going great, but you get this feeling there's a third person in the room. A ghost, right? The ghost of the ex. Today, we're going to dig into that tricky question. How do you know if your partner is really over their past? I mean, it's a question that can seriously mess with your head, right? It creates all this doubt and insecurity. Are you actually building something real, or are you just a rebound? Are you living in the shadow of what they once had? So to get some clarity on this, we're going to break down the 10 signs laid out by the popular vlog El Tamach. We're diving right into his perspective to see what signals he says to look out for. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. We've grouped these 10 signs into 4 main themes. First, we'll look at the lingering presence, the obvious stuff. Then we'll get into the emotional wound that hasn't healed. After that, we'll talk about the shadow in the relationship, how this ghost actually affects you. And we'll wrap it up with the final sign, which is one you definitely don't want to ignore. Let's get into it.
All right, part 1, the lingering presence. This is all about the really overt signs, the ones you can see and hear. The ways the ex is still, around. We're bundling signs 1, 4, and 7 here because they all have to do with the ex taking up space in your partner's life, one way or another.
So first up, sign number 1. This one is all about space. And I mean both the space in their head and their physical space. Basically, the argument here is pretty straightforward. If the ex is still popping up in conversations, if you're still seeing them on our social media, or if they're actually still meeting up, well, that connection just isn't severed. The idea is, for your new thing to have a real shot, the old one has to be completely done. Okay, let's move on to sign number 4. This one takes us straight into the digital realm. And that is, she's still spying on her ex's social media. According to the source, it honestly doesn't matter why she's doing it. Could be love, could be hate, could be some weird sense of competition. The point is, if she's still watching, it means the ex still has a hook in her emotionally. She's still affected. And that brings us to sign number 7, which is all about the practical, real-world ties that keep people connected. Think about it. The ex still has access. Maybe it's through shared kids, or they work together. Maybe it's through mutual friends, family, or even a shared pet. From this viewpoint, these things create situations where they have to communicate, right? And that keeps the old relationship from ever getting a clean break. It keeps that door just a little bit open. Okay, so that's the stuff you can see on the outside. But what about what's going on inside? Let's get into part 2. The emotional wound. This is all about those unresolved feelings, the psychological baggage she's still carrying around. And this brings us to sign number 5, which is one that's described as being really, really tough to deal with. It's when she idealizes the past relationship. She only remembers the good stuff, painting this picture of a perfect romance. It creates this impossible standard that you, a real person with flaws, can never live up to. And the source points out this is a whole other level of difficult if an ex has passed away. Yeah, this quote really says it all. You can't compete with a ghost because the ghost is perfect and you are only human. It perfectly captures how you're put in this no-win situation, trying to measure up to a fantasy. All right, sign number 6. This one shows up in how your partner actually behaves in the relationship with you. Basically, she just won't fully commit. She doesn't open up all the way. It's like she's making you pay for the mistakes someone else made. The idea is that she's so scared of getting hurt again that she keeps her guard up. But by doing that, by not letting you in because of what her ex did, she's still letting that old relationship control her. Okay, now for sign number 8. This is all about the emotional junk that's left over from the breakup.
She's just still hurt. She's carrying around all that sadness or anger from the last relationship, and here's the key. She might never even say her ex's name. But if she's always talking about the wound or the betrayal, or she's just super cynical about love in general, it's a pretty good sign she hasn't healed from what or who caused it.
All right, let's move on to part 3. This is where the ghost of the ex stops being just a memory and starts becoming an active player in your relationship. This is how it directly affects you. We're going to look at signs 2, 3, and 9 here because they're all about the past messing with your present. And sign number 2 is something you will feel firsthand. I'm talking about comparisons. So she's always comparing you to the ex. How you act, what you do, what you provide, versus how he acted, what he did or didn't do. And here's a really interesting point from the source. Even if the comparison sounds good, like, wow, you're so much better at this than my ex was, it's still a red flag. Why? Because it means you're still being measured against that ghost. You're not being seen for you, you're being seen in relation to him. Next up, sign number 3. This is all about how your partner acts when the ex suddenly pops back into the picture. Think about it. Does her entire vibe change when the ex is mentioned, or if you run into him? Does she suddenly get weird or act differently, almost like she's trying to impress him or please him again? The vlog suggests this is a total subconscious slip back into their old dynamic, and it shows the ex still has some kind of power over her. And that brings us to a really powerful one, sign number 9. This is about the fantasy she's keeping alive in her head. It's the fantasy of reunion. Deep down, she's holding on to this little sliver of hope. Hope that the ex will realize he made a mistake, hope that he'll change, and hope that he'll come back. As long as that fantasy is there, that emotional tie is never really broken, which means she can never, ever be fully present with you. Okay, so after all of these external signs and behaviors, the source wraps it all up with the final and maybe the most important sign of all. Sign number 10, and this one has nothing to do with what she does, it has everything to do with what you feel. The quote puts it perfectly. If you feel that you're competing with someone who isn't there, trust your intuition. After everything else, the final takeaway is that your gut feeling is the biggest red flag. If you feel like you're constantly competing with a ghost, you probably are. So there you have it. That's the breakdown of the 10 signs from this particular perspective. And it really leaves you with one final massive question, doesn't it? If you're seeing these signs in your own relationship, what now? Is this a sign you need to have a really tough conversation? Or is it a signal that it's time to just walk away? Definitely something to think about.